Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about how HR went from being, just a back office thing to basically becoming the strategic, ethical heart of a company. So is HR just about paperwork and payroll, or is it something more, like the ethical conscience of a company? Let's get right into it, because the role has changed, dramatically. It's not just some administrative department anymore. It's right there at the center of corporate strategy. And you've probably noticed this isn't just some passing trend. Everyone, and I mean everyone, from employees and customers to investors, they're all demanding more from companies. It's not just about profit anymore. They expect businesses to be good citizens, to act ethically. And that's why this evolution in HR is, it's absolutely critical for any company that wants to stick around. So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll look at HR's changing role, dive into the ethics side of things, see how it connects to social responsibility, talk about the big push for diversity and inclusion, and finally, figure out how we actually know if any of this is working. All right, first up, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. What exactly is HR responsible for in today's world? And believe me, the stakes here are huge. This isn't something you can just get wrong and move on. We're talking about massive legal fines, a trashed reputation, and suddenly finding you can't hire or keep good people. I mean, a company's entire future can really hinge on getting this right. Okay, so that leads us perfectly into the first pillar of this new role, which is all about ethics, the moral compass that should guide every single people-related decision. And here's the thing you've got to get. Ethics is not just about following the law. Not at all. It's about aiming higher. It's about doing the right thing, the fair thing for your employees, even if no law is telling you that you have to. This slide just nails the difference, right? Think of the law as the floor. It's the bare minimum you have to do to not get in trouble. But ethics, that's the ceiling. That's the high standard of what's truly fair and just. And that's what the best companies are always reaching for. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because these theories, they're not just for textbooks. They're actual practical tools for HR pros. So say you have a big, painful company restructuring. A utilitarian view helps you make the tough call to save the company, while also making sure you support the people being laid off. Or when it's time for promotions, a justice approach means you're using fair, standardized rules for everyone, so it's not about who you know. It's a way to make really hard decisions that are balanced and fair. So when HR is stuck between a rock and a hard place, like do we protect an employee's privacy or give a manager the info they're asking for, they don't just flip a coin. They actually follow a process like this. They identify the real issue, look at all the options, think about who's going to be impacted, and, crucially, make sure whatever they decide lines up with what the company says it stands for. All right, so we've talked about what's happening inside the company. Now let's zoom out and look at how a company impacts the world around it. This is where corporate social responsibility, or CSR, comes in. Basically, CSR is when a company decides, on its own, to be a good citizen. It's a commitment to do right by society and the environment. And guess who's often in the driver's seat making this happen? Yep, the HR team. And this isn't just about feeling good, it's actually really smart business. Look at this chart. The biggest drivers are engaging your current employees and attracting new talent. Makes sense, right? People want to work for a company they can be proud of. But it's also about building a great reputation, managing risks. A solid CSR program is a win-win. It's good for people, and it's good for the bottom line. So how does HR actually do this? Well, it's through real, tangible actions. Things like setting up remote work options that are better for the planet, organizing volunteer days for employees, or pushing for better mental health support. It's about showing, not just telling, that the company cares. And all this talk about social responsibility and caring for people leads us straight to a huge and hugely important topic: diversity and inclusion. You'll often hear it called D&I. Now, it's so important to get this right. They're two different things, but they're totally linked. Think of it like this. Diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. You can hire a diverse group of people, but if you don't create a culture where they feel valued, respected, and heard, well, you're not going to get very far. And let's be clear, this isn't just the right thing to do, though it is. It is a massive business advantage. The data is undeniable. Companies that are great at D&I are more creative, they're better at holding on to their best employees, and they have their pick of the best talent out there. It's a straight-up competitive edge. Okay, so you're doing all this great stuff: ethics programs, CSR, D&I initiatives, but how do you know if it's actually making a difference? Well, you have to measure it. It really all boils down to accountability. Wishing for things to be better isn't a strategy. You have to track the data. Are people happier at work? Are we paying people fairly across the board? Are we seeing more diversity in our management roles? Looking at these numbers is how you turn good intentions into actual measurable progress. I think this quote just sums it all up perfectly. The modern HR professional is so much more than an administrator. They're the company's ethical backbone. They're a gatekeeper, an advocate for employees, and a trusted advisor to leaders trying to do the right thing in a really complicated world. So, that leaves us with a big question for the future, right? As AI starts doing more and more HR tasks like hiring and reviews, how do we make sure that tech is fair? How do we keep it human-centric and ethical? That's really the next big challenge, making sure our technology reflects our best values. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you got something out of this explainer, we'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives just like this one.